Beans, we got a lot of fans of yours on Zoom right now. So if you can try to stay quiet while we do some shrimp and grits, okay? I'll give you some shrimp in a little bit, all right? Welcome to my Zoom session here. We're gonna try to do a live cook as a matter of Zoom technology. I know that Zoom is very sensitive. So if you cough, then the camera switches to you. And I hope you're not doing anything inappropriate at that time. If you can, during the Zoom session, if you can mute yourself, that would be wonderful. That way, if you want to ask a question, you want to talk, just unmute and then go back to mute. That way, the footage that I'm going to record from the session is not so jumpy, because I noticed that when I try to kind of record the session to post on YouTube later for my patrons, the kind of the footage kind of jumps back and forth to the people who cough and who, kind of like, have a little grunt in the middle of their viewing. So if you can mute yourself, I can mute all, but I think you guys know what to do. Most of you know how to use technology. So everybody just mute all, and then I think we should be good. I think everybody's muted. Excellent. So everybody knows what to do. One of the things I need to do is improvement is to have a second moderator to admit people, because every time somebody joins, right, I have to admit that person. So there's no auto admission feature, and I'm not sure why. You cannot admit everybody kind of in an automatic manner here. But let's keep going here. So you guys can see my camera, right, where it's pointing. So let me describe what we're going to do today. So I told you I'm going to cook one of my favorite kind of brunch dishes. And if you prepare everything in place, you can probably cook this in about 20 minutes. So not a tough cook, just needs a little bit of prep work. And shrimp and grits, by way of background, is something that I've always enjoyed traveling across America. It's you can say it's a comfort food, and it's kind of a Southern style comfort food. You don't always need to make it with shrimp. You can make it with anything you want. It's basically a hearty meal consisting of basically grits. Grits is, you guys know what grits are, right? Grits is polenta. Polenta is cornmeal. So polenta looks like this here. When you cook it, it gets into kind of like a little creaminess. It looks a little bit like a kind of cream of wheat, or it's actually kind of like what do you call the oatmeal, right? Except it's made from corn. And polenta is something that's enjoyed by many cultures in the world, not just the people in Italy, but also in America. And it's called grits. And you basically make a gravy. Beans, we haven't had food yet, okay? So you have to wait until I cook the food, all right? Mr. Beans is very impatient. So we are going to make a roux. A roux is nothing more than a little bit of flour and some oil. In this case, I'm going to use the bacon grease I saved, because I think that when you make a roux with bacon grease and flour, it kind of tastes better than just butter. And we have some bacon that I pre-made earlier. I just kind of, fried some bacon. We have some beautiful shrimp here. So this shrimp is from I believe it's from the East Coast sponsor. I'm going to be shooting a series of videos for lobster. So there's a vendor on the East Coast who contacted me. It's called lobsteranywhere.com. So they sent me some shrimp. We're going to use their beautiful shrimp in this dish. We have a little bit of white cheddar, lots of garlic. You guys know I like garlic, the green onions, and a little bit of lemon. So not too complicated to the prep. And when I make my gravy, I always like to add just a touch of nutmeg. So I think that that gives the gravy kind of a nice floral note. All right. So that's the prep on the mise en place, which is prep in place. The first thing we want to do is make the gravy. The grits I already pre-made. So grits is not rocket science. You just cook it according to package instructions. It's just water and cornmeal. And then you cook it. And then we're going to basically put some cheddar cheese at the end, a little bit of butter, and a little bit of salt, pepper, just seasoning at the end. So nothing rocket science there. Show you guys how we make the roux now. Add a little bit more of I use a little bit half and half to make the kind of grits a little bit more creamy. You can ignore the half and half if you don't have it. Don't worry too much about it. And it depends on how you like your grits. Some people like it creamier. Some people like it less creamy. So it's up to you to decide what you like. So let's go ahead and see if we can make the gravy here. Get some of the oil on it, the bacon oil. Equal amounts of flour and bacon grease, and we just let it melt.
Instead of using half and half, are you able to use evaporated milk though? It seems more easier to get
Yeah,
that.
any liquid you like, you can use evaporated milk. Some people use chicken stock, it's fine. Yeah, you can use whole milk. Water is also fine. So really, it's kind of up to you to decide what you like. There's no right or wrong associated with it here. Now that I have I'm gonna add flour now to make the roux. So how much flour is about the same amount. So you see the amount of oil here, right? So what you want to do is you want to add enough to match 1 for 1. So the ratio for roux is 1 to 1. So it's not rocket science. You don't even need to measure. You just heat up the oil, put in as much flour as you have oil, and then you stir it. Always use a whisk because a whisk will allow the gravy not to be lumpy. I'm using a Jealous Devil charcoal this morning. So Jealous Devil looks like this here. The Jealous Devil charcoal really is great for live fire cooking. So when I do any live fire cooking, that's the kind of charcoal I like to use. The roux will blonde and then turn brown and then turn dark brown. So a nutty brown roux, which is the one that's the darkest, will take you about 40 minutes. Now, if you do a light roux, like what I'm going to do, this will probably take maybe just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes or so. The darkness of the roux determines the flavor and then the thickening power. So what happens is when you have roux that's really, really dark, the thickening power is reduced. So if you're making a like a gumbo, jambalaya, or any kind of southern dish that you're making roux, you want to make two kinds of roux. You want to make a blonde roux, which has the highest thickening power, and then you want to make a dark roux. So you actually cook using two kinds of roux, a blonde roux, which is the light brown roux, as well as a super dark nutty roux, because the nutty roux will give you a lot of flavor. So now it's turning brown. I hope you can see this, the color change. It's been a few minutes now. I'm taking it off the fire. I stirred it a little bit, only try to get it to a little bit darker brown. And I have some chicken stock and some beef stock I'm going to put in.
What would you say is better to use, beef stock or chicken stock, though?
Whatever flavor you want is fine. So it'll thicken up as it boils, and it depends on how dark you want your roux. Okay, let it boil, a little bit more liquid. So you put the liquid, right? Not by any particular quantity. I always tell people, always cook, right? Following your best tools, which is your hands, your eyes, and your knowledge. And you kind of make your little gravy here. It's really important for you to whisk it as you do this because you don't want the gravy to be lumpy. So always whisk the roux so that the roux is kind of silky, and before you add the liquid. And then once you add the liquid, you have to keep stirring. So a little bit more. And you want to keep stirring it, incorporating the roux into the liquid so that the gravy is nice and smooth. I usually like to add a little bit of flavor at this point in time. And the two things I like to use is some kind of either these two products here. So you've seen me use this many times on my videos. This is a kind of a beef concentrate to give it a little bit of oomph. And sometimes I use a kind of a caramelizing seasoning like this, like a gravy master, like a bouquet garnish, So you can use some of this, just a little bit. I'm just going to illustrate here. You can use this product here. Or you can use a little bit of beef concentrate. This one I use like a workhorse in my cooking, and I use it to give flavor to foods. It's a little bit, goes a long way. And the other one you can use also is the Maggi. So just a little bit of that, stir it in, gives the gravy a nice color, get you the color you want. So, and now we want to season it and taste it. So let me see the thickness here. So thickness is, as to how thick it is, people always ask me this question. So you just want to be able to coat the back of a spoon. So like so, a spoon, you're going to coat the back of a spoon. So it's thick enough. It's actually too thick now. Too thick for my liking. I'm going to taste it now. Delish. All right, a little bit more liquid. I don't want it to be too thick. And that's about right. So now this is done. I'm going to set it aside. Here's the grits. And I'm going to just season the gravy with just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of a floral note. I use a little bit of ground nutmeg. You can use mace also. If you guys don't know what the difference between mace and nutmeg is, it's from the same fruit. And the mace is actually the covering on the what do you call the actual nutmeg itself, and then the nutmeg is the seed. All right, so that's the difference between the two. Okay, So we have the grits here. I'm gonna finish it off with a little bit of cheese. I have a little bit of white cheddar. You can use any cheese you like, but I think white cheddar goes really well. I'm one of those funny people. I'm a purist. I really don't want the grits to turn yellow since they are made with half and half. That way you get a nice contrast between the gravy, the brown gravy, and the white grits. Let me give you the taste test here. A lot of salt. Yeah, grits should be a little bit salty. Can add a couple of pieces of butter. Set it aside. Now let's grill the shrimp. It's really, really hot. Some coals over here. So you notice how I've set up my cook space, right? So I just want to explain what we have here. So I have a hot zone and a cool zone. So this is how I split it up, and I put some bricks right in the middle of the firebox. You can do this pretty much on any device you have. If you have a kettle, you can do it on the kettle. You can do it on your any kind of grill that you have. So what I do is as I cook, right? So I'm cooking on half hot and half cold. That way, you notice how I move the food back and forth so that I can keep it cool or keep it hot. This is the kind of the way you manage your fire. So I'm gonna heat up the thing. We're gonna cook some shrimp now. And when you run out of coals, you just kind of pop some over on the other side. That way you can cook and entertain people for a long time. So if you do a live cook and you have family over and you want to kind of cook food for them as people come up, you can still do that. And this is the way you manage your fire. Cold zone, unlit, and then the lit side on that side. This is kind of charcoal grilled shrimp. So we're going to put it into a, what do you call this thing? I don't know what you call it, a colander. So you're gonna cook over live fire. And you can use different kinds of colander. They all kind of work. So whatever works for you is great. And you can do this obviously on a saucepan, but I think it tastes better like right over live fire. The fire is hot enough here. I got my garlicky. I'm gonna brush it with my oil.
Would you recommend using olive oil instead of the butter for the oil as a additive to the shrimp though?
Yeah, if you like fruity flavors, by all means, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, I found this in a restaurant supply store. I guess, you know, you use it when you try to use it in a commercial kitchen. Hopefully you guys can see this. It's in frame, right? Okay, so what you want to do is you can cook it on a saucepan, or you kind of do it the way I do. I'm a pyromaniac, so you know I like fire. Some people, prefer to do it in a pan. A pan is fine, but I think this is a lot more tastier. It's got a nice char to it. The key to cooking shrimp is number one, don't overcook it, right? So I like to tend to like slightly undercook my shrimp. You really don't want to get the shrimp beyond like 135. So for those of you who are kind of purists, let me get the thermopan. I know people ask me, what's the temperature of the shrimp, Harry? But don't burn my camera here. Burn my cell phone. All right, I think it's pretty well done. Get a little squeeze of lemon on it. So you get a little lemony, buttery kind of shrimp. Final dusting with some butter, more butter. And let's do a temperature check here. All right, it's hot enough. All right, so we plate the gravy first. Put the grits on next. All right, and don't forget our chopped bacon. I like lots of bacon, so I'm gonna put a lot of bacon here. A little dusting of pepper. Not that hard to do. You put it together in about maybe 20 minutes or so. If you pre-cook the stuff ahead of time, it goes even faster. And now's the moment of truth here. Let's give it a taste test. Okay, Beans is waiting patiently. Just give me a minute, Beans, okay? Let me give it a taste test here. Get some of that shrimp, bacon, gravy, grits, green onion. I need a little bit of lemon though. A bit more lemon. Gonna do a second bite here. Some people like big shrimp because they think it's tastier. Some people like small shrimp so that when they eat the shrimp and grits, right? I mean, the whole shrimp fits into the fork. versus having to cut the shrimp, because if the shrimp is ginormous, then it looks really, really good. But from an eating standpoint, it doesn't kind of, it has to be cut up. So some people say that, get bite-sized shrimp is the best. Some people say, no, get me the colossal shrimp. So enough of me talking. Let me see. Hey, Beans, you want some shrimp and grits? Does he look like he wants shrimp and grits? Right? You want some shrimp and grits? Okay, he's sniffing it. And he's saying, what is this thing here? It's not brisket today. Ooh, I think he likes it. Well, I know he likes bacon. He likes the bacon, but yeah, I don't know about the grits part, right? He's gonna say, what is this white little mushy thingy that you want me to eat here? But I think he's a good sport. He just will eat pretty much anything. But you saw him, right, in that episode when I served him the Walmart brisket. He turned his nose and walked away. So he definitely knows what he likes and what he doesn't like, and he's really, really picky about that. Okay, he's cleaning the plate. So Beans, you give me a thumbs up for my shrimp and grits. With that, we will conclude this session, and please, everybody, just be safe and stay healthy. I'm not gonna try to say a political statement, but wear your mask and then wash your hands and stay away from people. So until the next time, we will see ya.